Your time, sir.
Good day. Thank you for joining us for this, the 106th episode of Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. So, 499 candidates have been nominated for the local government elections on February 26th. Nomination day had the air of a big one, and thankfully, it was free of major incidents. We have had another really awful criminal incident on the canvas of criminality in Jamaica. And I go back 2 weeks, so a 91-year-old woman was sexually assaulted in her own house in Westmoreland. We didn't get a chance last week to say condolences, of course, to the family of Alan Magnus and also to the RJR family. We also say condolences to the family of Justice Dennis Morrison, a towering figure of a jurist who also passed away during that week. Now, our special guest today is UWI Professor Clinton Hutton, who is going to help us consider Israel, the Bible, and Gaza. Desmond Richards and Winnie Anderson Brown are with us. Mary White is off this week. Doing the technical and graphic support is Joshua Black. Welcome to you, our colleagues, and let me again apologize to people who joined last week and found that we weren't there, that we had a problem. Now, remember, you are viewing this live and that you may comment, those of you who are viewing, may comment or ask a question while we speak. And just remember, this will be posted on the Frankly Speaking Jamaica YouTube channel and will be available right after this program. Share it with your friends. And of course, we ask you to subscribe. Now, we were going to go to Desmond first, but we're having some issues with him. So let's see whether we can start with Winnie. Winnie, what's your summary? Winnie, are you hearing us? What's your summary? Oh, I don't think.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you. Yes, thank you.
I noticed the sound is going in and the sound is going in and out. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm going to speak about artificial intelligence and job loss. That this is something that should be expected and people should prepare for it rather than gripe about it. In essence, This is what I'll talk about.
But even this, as we were saying just before we came on, even this matter of your saying your sound is going in and out, and what Desmond is experiencing too, are part of the reality in Jamaica. Internet issues. That's not what put us out last week, by the way. But we're saying internet issues are a serious problem. I'm in an alternative location, a different location, because of internet problems. Where I live, in the community near to where I live in Runaway Bay, out of the internet since Friday morning. How can we, and this is not an isolated incident, how can we, Winnie, talk about AI when so many, and there are still places in Jamaica where we don't have internet coverage? I do get coverage. You are in the rural parts, you have coverage. How can we talk about AI? Can we be serious when the internet is not really reliable? Winnie, are you hearing me?
Despite the fact that our internet services are not reliable, the artificial intelligence. I am hearing you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Are you hearing me?
Speak up a little bit, please. Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. What I'm saying is that despite the fact that we have internet issues as we're having now, artificial intelligence is here to stay. So we just have to get up to speed. Our internet issues won't hold back the tide. Things will move ahead with or without us. So it is not going to wait for us. So it is for us to agitate to make sure that we are able to be in a position that we can use artificial intelligence.
And would you say you are positive about where Jamaica is now with the internet, with internet coverage and the service generally?
Far from it. Far from it. I am not comfortable. And this is why it is so important for us to pay attention to what is happening with artificial intelligence, because it is not waiting for us to sort our issues out. All that will happen is that we will get further and further behind. That's all it means. So it's important for us to pay attention to what is happening in that field.
Okay. All right. So Desmond is trying to join us. And we're going to come back to you, Winnie, on that. I want to speak about my disgust at hearing that story. It's over 2 weeks ago about the attack on a 91-year-old woman in Darlington, Westmoreland. Now, I know a lot of people have stopped talking about that story. I know it seems they have just gone. I know, like so many things, although it indicated that we were at the deepest, lowest point, we have just almost sort of forgotten it. I haven't heard any developments on it. I called one colleague about it who might have known but didn't hear anything. Now, Winnie, viewers, listeners, I wondered what kind of punishment should be meted out to somebody like that attacker. And I was unable to come up with an appropriate sentence or action in my own mind. But let me just say this. These crimes, there's nothing that should be normal about them. We should be revolted by them. We should be revulsed by them. We should condemn them. And the people in that community of Darlington should find a way of assisting the police in all the ways possible. I know this is obviously somebody we can't name, unnamed person. It's not any big name family. It's not any big community in Kingston or St. Andrew. This is a woman who could be the grandmother of so many people, abused in her own home by a lowlife. And we hardly hear anything about it.
Are you hearing me now?
We're hearing you, Desmond, and we want you to go ahead now on your summary of where you're going today. Go ahead, please.
I want to talk about the local government elections and, of course, crime. You were on that point with that 90-year-old woman. Now that is a sign of where the criminal activity in the country is right now. And the other thing is that too many of us are silent and inactive. I am talking about citizens now. Citizens need to become more active, right? And you will observe too that relatives, for example, I am prepared to wager a bet that the offender in that particular case, he knows the woman, and probably the woman knows him also, right? That is
I would think you are right, Desmond, and I don't think it's somebody from St. Elizabeth or Hanover or any further far away community. And this person knew this woman lived alone, knew how to access the house, and so the community must be able to stand up and look for ways, not go and do the jungle justice thing that is so often that knee-jerk response, but assist the police, the police, and
yes,
get
course.
Justice for this woman, 91-year-old woman.
Yes. Now, as it relates to local government elections, I think most people will agree that what we have seen so far, this local government elections is different from those of the past. And although the Prime Minister is not has dismissed it, it is a referendum on the government. If you observe that the two major parties, they are campaigning heavily. I have never seen and heard so many promises in a local government elections. I see where one city, one town, rural town in Trelawney, the Prime Minister told them last Saturday that it is going to be made into a city. So what we expect
Where
is
is that? In Trelawney?
Yes. If you listen to the number of announcements, roads are opening up, parks are being built, and therefore what I think is going to happen, this local government elections, the turnout is going to be much higher than those in the past.
I get a lot of people are predicting that, but I don't know why we want the local government elections to be a referendum on the administration.
Well,
because
it's not
local government,
Franklin.
in other words, there's what would so my councillor in my area, my councillor candidates should not be coming to me to talk about water, local roads, the state of the cemetery down the road, why they allow commercial buildings to go next to the house or whatever. We shouldn't be having that conversation, Desmond.
But Franklin, why use those are the issues that have been affecting Jamaicans since 1962. Poor roads, lack of water, and all those situations affecting people in their villages and towns. Of course, they must talk about them. But what we are saying is that you must remember enough, local government elections are held every 4 years. It's about 7 years. It's about 7 years you don't have a local government election. And the general election is next year. So this election has reminded me of 1986.
The general election could be this year, latest next year.
Yes.
Ban pillions.
This local government election here remind me of 1986 local government election. And what I see is that the turnout is going to be higher, and the voters on both sides are going to be putting their votes behind their parties, right?
Okay.
The PNP.
Western hereby declare nomination center, the Anglican Church Hall in Grange Hill, open.
Yes. So this election is, as I said, different from all the local government elections in the past.
I agree.
Yes, go ahead. You live where local government means something as well.
If you can hear me, I agree totally with you, Desmond. And what is historic in my area is that someone switched from the councillor, the sitting councillor switched from JLP to PNP.
And you are in Clarendon. You're in Clarendon, Winnie. We're just telling people.
Yes, I am in the constituency of North Central Clarendon and the Moko division. So in that division, the person who is really in election mode is the MP, because it's more important for him, for the Moko division, not to be lost. So I agree with you, Desmond. This is an unusual election, an unusual local government election. It has national implications.
And that's perhaps why the crowds that we saw last week as well, during the nomination time, were so large. But we're going to move away from local government elections now. I don't think we're going to have the time to come back to it today, but I want to look now at Gaza, Israel and Gaza. Now, Professor Clinton Hutton spoke with us about this matter. He couldn't be with us live this afternoon. He had other engagements, but he spoke with us before, and we had edited sections of his interview. Now, I want us to remember, and we should not ignore, that 26,000 Palestinians have been killed in that strip of the most crowded place on earth, Gaza, densest population on earth. 26,000 people since Hamas carried out a deadly, horrible raid attack on Israel on October 7th. Reprehensible. Killed over 2,000 Israelis. Abducted over 240. Since that time, in relentless attacks, one could almost say indiscriminate attacks, the Israeli army has killed in Gaza, we're not talking about the West Bank and so on, 26,000 people, at least 12,000 of whom are children. Children of no less value or importance than your children or your grandchildren or mine. Now, 26,000 people. I always like to use context so that we can think. When the stadium is full, when the national stadium is full, it holds between 30 and 35,000 people. When it's crammed and people standing up in the aisle. So you get a sense of the numbers we're talking about. So I asked Professor Hutton about this matter of Israel and why people are responding to it this way, and whether this Israel is Israel occupying the promised land or is Israel of the Bible. And Professor Hutton started like this. Here is Professor Hutton.
Israel was founded by Zionists out of Europe. The traditional Hebrew culture was subordinated to the
You're hearing Professor Hutton.
The mission, to the politics of the Zionists. Zionism really was founded in the late 19th century. And it was founded out of a desire for a homeland. There are people, there are Palestinians who still have their titles from 1948, and the key to their houses taken away from them, wipe them out. I mean, look what is happening in Gaza. It is the most barefaced kind of obscenity that I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so much in the face of all of humanity that anybody with the slightest sense of human feeling cannot understand, cannot imagine that in the 21st century that such barbarity can be taking place with the support of the United States and Western Europe.
And the question, Prof, the question then emerges, why? Why, as you pointed out, in 2024, in a
Franklin, I'm not hearing you at all.
A civilized world with laws and conventions and behaviors. Why? Why, if not?
Because Western Europe and the United States put anti-Semitism is a European construct. What anti-black racism is to black people by the people who enslave us, anti-Semitism is a construct similar to that. And the same source that created anti-black racism is the same source that created anti-Semitism. That source is Europe. The history is much longer than that, but it's culminated in the 1930s and the 1940s. So the Nazis, Third Reich, the Hitlerites, slaughtering close to 100 million people died in that second war that they call World War II. While that was going on, some 6 million Jews, it claimed, were exterminated. And the camps are there. The records are there.
Yes.
And what happened? Europe stood by and watched it happen. There were Jewish people who took ship and went to the United States while that was going on. And the United States turned them back. And so when the war was concluded and all of that shame became manifested in the world, it led to a group, the shame of Europe. And that shame is what is propelling them to support, continue to support, not Jewish, not the extermination of Jews, no, but the extermination of the Palestinians, who never did anything to the Jews. But there are many Jewish people, scholars, ordinary folks, cultural figures, who are opposed to what is happening. Israel is the spearhead of Western Europe and American imperialism in that region to control the people, to control their resources. That is the last bastion, if you will, or the last frontier of European colonialism as colonial empires have receded. I mean, what is being witnessed there is unbelievable, unexplainable. And they are using the Bible, which many of them don't believe in, but they know that they can use it and get the sympathy, and for a long while got the sympathy of the world to gang up against a people, applying their racism to those people who never did them anything. The Palestinians are paying for what Western Europe did to the Jewish people.
Prof.
They are paying
Prof.
with their land, they are paying with their blood and sweat and tears. And it is
Well, what strikes me about all of that, and Professor Hutton made a circular argument and point is saying Israel is the spearhead of the imperialism, the desire for some bigger geopolitical issues in that region. But, you know, one of the things that he said, and it's the same question I've been asking, a lot of people are asking, how is the world able to allow this to be happening right before our eyes, day in, day out? You just look at any of the international news sources. I tend to like to look at Al Jazeera because I believe it's credible. It's the only credible one right now reporting this. Desmond, can you give us a quick mention before we go on to AI? How is this possible?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you clearly.
Yes, I am not hearing you clearly at all. I didn't hear the interview, but one thing.
I'm sorry you didn't hear the interview. I heard the first part of it was low, but I'm sorry.
One thing, this Israeli-Palestinian conflict has highlighted, it is clear to us, even those without eyes, that it shows us how the world is run, how the world is governed and operated right now. The world, as we can see, is run by the powerful countries. The United States, Great Britain, Germany, those countries are fully behind Israel, right? And the rest of us, it is clear that they are the ones who control the arms, they control the money, they control the power, and they dictate how the world is governed as we speak. It is going to take the rest of us to unite and speak with one voice, pool whatever resources we have.
Desmond, I don't know when that's going to happen, and I don't know honestly what's the effect. What would be the effect? But we're going to come back to it. It doesn't seem that this one is going to end, and the truth is going to happen before we get back here next week. And I'm really very sorry that the audio was so bad on the professor's thing. But Winnie hasn't touched her issue yet, Desmond. So we got to ask her to say, Winnie, you only have a minute. So I'm sorry about it. All the technicals.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. This is a topic that we should all pay attention to. All I will say in the minute that I have is that we should remember that machines are more efficient than human beings. And that is why, while we are arguing, people are
big statement that Winnie. Some people wouldn't want to accept it, but it's a big, bold statement, and I think it's true. Yes. But you go ahead.
Yes. And that is why artificial intelligence is here. All it is machines doing what human beings were only able to do because of human intelligence. Now machines are able to do a lot more. So at another time, I will come back to this, because this robot can do what human beings can. It can use human tools, and it is designed that way.
And one of the questions that I want to ask about it is the service levels that we are going to get from AI, the service levels, the human interaction, the human empathy, emotions, and so on. But you will be prepared for us on those, Winnie.
Yes, I will definitely speak to that when we have time.
All right. Yeah. I want to thank really thankful to Professor Hutton. I'm Franklin McKnight. Until then.
Okay.